bringing to you the stories that have never been told, the news that has yet to unfold, and the voices you have not heard. This is the Caribbean Cannabis channel, where we meditate and educate on all things ganja within the Caribbean region, with your host, Prophet Natty.
Yo, peace and love, my listeners. What's good? We're back for another episode of the Caribbean Cannabis channel. And today, like always, I always run into some pretty interesting guests, so I always have interesting guests on my podcast. And this episode came about in a very funny, particular way. I had the pleasure of meeting a very intelligent, conscious, and beautiful woman while I'm in Cayman Islands. And I think law of attraction for cannabis consumers, cannabis users, understanding of the herb, we just ended up speaking about cannabis, which led to this podcast episode. And it's a podcast episode I think you really and truly want to tune into, especially if you're a person, you're about consciousness, you're about learning how to really tap into yourself and even how you could use cannabis as a tool for your own enlightenment and the enlightenment of others. So, with all that being said, allow me to introduce the guest for today's episode, which is Stephanie. Stephanie, tell us about yourself. How are you today?
Bonjour, I'm good, thank you. So you can probably hear with my accent, I'm from France. I live in the Cayman Islands since 4 years now. And I've been enjoying smoking cannabis and I believe experiencing quite a vast way of how we can use marijuana for the 22 years I've been smoking.
Wow. 22 years, that's a lot of time. And especially where herb is now compared to where it may have been 22 years ago, from the culture of it, from how it looks, how it is grown, probably has changed tremendously. So where I think would be best to start is, like, what was your first experience of either using cannabis or seeing it or just knowing what it is for the first time in your life?
So first in France, you get access to weed, really getting the plant in your hand only on the summertime. The rest of the year, it's mostly the resin, that you bring your lighter close and it start bubbling. And
Hashish?
Hashish, okay. We've got a pretty bad name to call it in French, when you translate, so I will not say it.
Well, don't worry, open. What's it called?
We say du shit.
The shit?
Shit, yeah. Du shit, that's why,
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, and this, you had to mix it with tobacco.
Okay.
So, it was very much recreational. When I discovered it, I was lucky. I was 19. I say lucky because I think it may have some danger, when you're really young and you get exposed to that. Because not long after, I could feel how I was using it to really numb myself.
Mm-hmm.
So from the moment I was waking up, it was, I needed to have a smoke. It's like very much fear of feeling things. And when you look at it, the consciousness attached to marijuana, it's really very often highly sensitive beings. And wants to escape this 3D reality that appears to be too rough.
Mm-hmm.
That's why no one who smokes pot will ever start a fight, right?
True. Mm-hmm.
Consciousness attached to drinking, the behavior of drinking alcohol is very different. It's, that person will benefit of boundary work. It's lack of knowing the self. You kind of want to please people, or you still get your identity very much based on what other people give you.
So, would you say, from what you just shared, in terms of the opening or the awakening of that level of sensitivity and consciousness that marijuana can bring one, is it that when persons now starting, especially when you're young, we see a lot of people having adverse reactions because they're not necessarily understanding that they are opening their consciousness and their sensitivity. So everything that probably is around them or even being regurgitated is very harsh, or a lot of people cannot
it
like
is.
hold that sort of energy on them.
Yeah, just have to look at television, or it's everywhere around you. And as a woman, same as men, but for me it's coming, unfortunately. And for women, there was, and there still is, as if woman value is based on how she looks, right? It's everywhere. It's in the magazines, it's on billboards, it's on television, it's on radio. So they just trap people in away from their soul, right? Even if, I fell into that trap. It just brings so much misery.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah. So then it's about questioning, okay, I'm feeling like this. I need to start looking at my environment. That's why it's 13 years I haven't watched TV. I don't miss it at all. I felt already the benefits of it after a week. Radio, I switched it off too. You have to be conscious of tuning, becoming more sensitive to how things around you affect you. After you listen to a song, how do you feel? Do you feel agitated? Do you feel more angry? Do you feel more... now some songs are really manipulating people's mind, and not on the highest path, right?
Not in alignment with their own self, their own purpose. Yeah.
No. Old school song, are really the best. They vibrate higher. You listen to a song of Bob Marley, see how you feel afterwards. You feel uplifted, and then you listen to what was that song? Holy. Yeah, holy.
Who sang that?
Unholy. Yeah. Just the title of it.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, but you see, it's going to get it to your mind. And I swear to you that those words, they just tap into the most primal, survival,
The canna
darkest
side of
energy. Yeah. And I've noticed it because I heard that song when I was in a cafe, and I thought that was very catchy. And I started listening to it, even if the lyrics, it's kind of like...
It's always the beats that catch you. Yeah.
Right? And then I started noticing even how I was feeling different, where my mind and my attention was, and the energy from people I was starting to attract. And then I thought, what is that? Where is that coming from? And I knew already because it was already a while back that I thought I should stop singing that song.
Wow. You actually connected a serious part of me and made me remember a same experience using music. How I was just sitting in my backyard. I was smoking, meditating. And I just really started to think about, what am I listening to? What am I putting into my body? Not just music-wise, but on the whole. And then it led me back to even how I am smoking cannabis, how I'm consuming it, how I'm partaking in it, just the whole aspect of it, from the purchase of it down to the consumption. And I just had to really reflect and then analyze what I'm doing to actually change and unlearn a lot of practices that I once had. What I want to ask with regards to that, how would you, somebody who's now starting or want to explore the use of cannabis, especially to awake, their intention is to help awaken that consciousness and tap into different parts of them. How would you advise from your own experience and knowledge to approach that first interaction with the plant?
So it's to do absolutely everything intentionally. So it's to take the time. I usually take the time to have the plant in my hands and feel it and smelling it, really appreciating how unique she is. She's got its own consciousness, its own vibration. You want to start connecting with it.
Correct.
That's why usually I limit using electric grinders or grinders, because if I want to connect with a higher spirit, I'm going to also start breathing in the same time and visualize from my heart a gold and silver cord, and going to go through my body deep down to the earth and anchor into the earth and just bring its energy to my heart and silver cord back up through my head back to the sun. Usually it's the sun. Sometimes it can be the moon. You don't force whatever image come. And then take the energy. And then, you get that into your heart. And as every slow breath in and out, as if you feel that bubble of light from your heart, that diamond, expanding, 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 until you're in that bubble. And you can set the intention. I would really like to connect safely, gently to my higher self. Or sometimes if you want to go and dive into your unconscious mind, you can also ask, please take me gently to the unconscious part of me that creates the suffering that I'm going through at the moment in my relationship. And you ask gently.
And you really...
Yeah, and you get it. And then you've got it, I have it in my hand, I'm going to chop it. So it's going to take longer than with a grinder, obviously. And take the paper and being there, connecting. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm ready for this. Let's connect. It's an act of love, not feeling the fear or the apprehension, but really connecting with love. It's like knowing that this is your ally.
And you're just like, it's an extension of you.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm listening to what you're saying, and even the process now that we already meditated on the herb right now. And I'm diving more into my own consciousness, just hearing how you could approach each and every aspect of the plant. And it's a funny story, actually, because a couple of years ago, I remember smoking with a couple of my friends, and we decided to bless the herb. And actually blessing the herb, I think that's probably one of our best meditative sessions that we had together, really and truly. And it's all about just intention.
Yeah.
It's being clear about it.
The presence and the clarity of the intention you set, and really feeling it. You feel it vibrating, when if you give it a try with the light and expanding as you're holding to how you wanna feel after that. So it's really feeling, whatever it is. If you want to dive deep into the unconscious, it's really feeling yourself on how free you're gonna be feeling after that. Just the knowing how your life is gonna change, how different people you're gonna attract.
Correct. Law of attraction and
Yeah,
the consciousness
it's
of
all
it.
about raising your vibration.
So, let me ask you a question, right? In your experience using cannabis, because we're talking about the unconscious and unraveling the unconscious aspects of it, or making yourself more aware of your own being and your own existence. A lot of questions that come from me come from women a lot of the times, and it's funny enough that more women come to me, but at the same time, what they are coming for is really they don't have the same privilege, they would say, as men in terms of just being freely open about cannabis use, or having to more so hide aspects of it. Like, how, in your own experience, how did that transcend from the starting to the middle on to where you are now as your grown self?
This is a very good perspective you're bringing on
Yeah,
my
we
life.
get
Yeah, thank you for that, because what comes to my mind first is like way more men. Barely any woman. I barely smoked rarely with women. Yeah, I can think of one when I was still living in France. And yeah, in New Zealand, I cannot remember, with that friend that came and visited me.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, no, it's mostly men. That's true. I think also, I mean, I'm 41 and I do not have children. So there's probably also a lot of pressure on women in regards to cannabis being still associated to drugs, but in a very negative light. So that probably will make them self-conscious to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if mothers were admitting that they were smoking, they'd probably be very worried that others will judge them as bad mothers.
Damn.
So
And it's a reality. It's a reality.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, because I've never had kids, I never really had until now women friends that had children. So this is interesting, and I'm definitely going to investigate, because as I'm developing friendship, it's important to me that the person knows that this is also part of my life. You see, I know some people even in my family, they completely reject it, and they will not want me around for that reason.
Really?
Yeah. So, in my friendship, it's the same. If I'm not being accepted for that, well, do I need to have a friend who judges me? I obviously don't need to do that in front of your face or when you're around. I've got respect for you, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the absence of judgment is important, no matter what, actually. If the woman decides to smoke, if she intuitively feels like, even if she's pregnant, a certain way of taking cannabis really help her and the baby, so be it. We need to start opening more into understanding instead of judging, because it's not one model fit all. That's why we're all very unique. That's why we all have our own very unique intuition that God's speaking through us. So it's no one's place to judge what the other person feels intuitively safe to do and healing to do for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And even if the person uses it as a coping mechanism, like I used to do in my 20s, when I wanted to numb my emotions, I didn't know how to approach it. That was the truth of it. We don't need to have people judging it. What we need is someone to understand us. This is what I was needed. I was needed connection, emotional connection. Feeling heard, feeling seen, feeling understood.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking outside. And this is after how, you can use cannabis on the complete opposite of the spectrum. Say, okay, I can see now, with the years, it's like, okay, I can see now how deep you can take me. I'm ready.
Damn.
Show me what I missed when I was a kid, because there's something there that is not really pleasant that I'm experiencing in my life. You ask for questions, you get answers, and she's always there to help you if you ask for it.
That's correct. I think a lot of persons would resonate with that and be able to take up something from it, because again, as I said, it really begins with a grace of yourself and seeking space to have persons understand you, and then putting yourself or putting up with persons and spaces because you are familiar with it rather than how they can add value and provide that space of understanding and learning and growing to make you feel, emotionally as well as physically secure in that presence. Going through that experience, what were some steps you could recall actually taking to switch the side of the spectrum of how you were using cannabis from coping to now as more a tool, an accessory to your conscious path and living?
So I had to stop. So I was not only smoking cannabis, but I was smoking with tobacco as well. So yeah, it was blended. So with the day that I decided I'm gonna stop, I had cigarettes and the hashish in the drawer.
Really?
Right? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because to me, knowing that there was none, that was creating a stronger desire for it. So it had to be next to me, just to know that in case, I like to know in life that I have a way out. It's like feeling trapped. I need to know that I have a way out.
Yeah, a safety key.
Isn't it strange? And anyway, so the first time that I quitted, that was a very strong reaction. And I literally had the sweat all night. My boyfriend at the time took me to the bathroom and showered me, changed the sheets, and like honestly, that was crazy.
No, it is. Yeah, wow.
It was like, what the heck, man? I mean, it's cannabis and nicotine. It felt like it was something else. And I've never tried anything else. And so yeah, you need to just come clear at some point to really being able to be honest with yourself and say, okay, I'm using it like that. And then I was like, I know I do appreciate the plant. I still had a pull to smoke it, but it was different because I had stopped for a year, but the smell of it and the connection that I literally felt with the plant, it's like a relationship with someone. It's not because someone, doesn't work as a boyfriend, girlfriend, that it means you don't need to have it in the life, right? You just need to redefine the relationship you have with them.
Yeah, it's all about your
So
definition.
it's exactly the same with everything, including this beautiful plant.
It's all about forming that relationship. You'll go through your ups, you'll go through your downs, but it's again building and growing upon each other. And when you make a mistake, or not necessarily a mistake, but you have an experience that is not in alignment with what you are trying to achieve, again, you reevaluate how you interact in that relationship and you move on.
Yeah, you need to be very honest with yourself at all times.
I think a lot of people are not honest with themselves, because even when you were referring to that experience, people would think, yes, it's cannabis. It's healthy. It's a good plant. It's a good herb. It has done tremendous things for persons for thousands of years. But that doesn't mean that you yourself cannot have an adverse reaction to something, right? When I did tolerance breaks at the beginning, at that point in time, I was smoking every day for several months or years upon a time. And when you decide to stop, you do get those shivering, you get the cold
withdrawal
sweating,
symptoms.
you get the withdrawal symptoms. Yeah, you get it.
That's
right?
real. Yeah.
But you have to be willing to be honest with yourself that you have to know how to use the plant and not abuse it. Because just because it's herb doesn't mean it cannot be abused.
You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we go through some of those symptoms, it shows the emotional codependency, with it. And usually, it's a pretty good indication that you're using on the so-called negative side of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's conscious, then it means you tend to experience more presence. And you can be honest with yourself. I know when I travel, I know if it's, that's okay. If I don't have it, that's fine. I rather have it if I can, right? But if I don't have it, that's fine. And the times where it's like, okay, I'm coming over there. Could you please arrange? No worries. It's just be honest with yourself. Don't just.
And that's a lesson for person to take away. Be honest with yourself. Have your boundaries, but first and foremost, be honest with yourself.
I was not always, I was not always honest with myself. For the years after, it was up and down, especially when I moved overseas and I could not speak English. Saying like, no, I'm not addicted to it. No, I'm not addicted. Yeah, yeah. And you're smoking it with tobacco. Well, now I don't smoke tobacco. I made a promise to myself.
Big up you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Funny enough, but culturally, we have a different way of using tobacco. So I used to smoke cigarettes at one point in time because in Trinidad, how we roll our herb, we don't necessarily empty the tobacco inside of it and roll it up. We actually roll it onto a cigarette. So the cigarette will look like a filter, and then you have the weed to the top.
Inside the cigarette paper rolled?
No, I'll have to show you how it looks. So essentially, I know that the audience cannot see what I'm doing right now, but I'm holding a roach in my hand. So okay, this one might be better. All right. So this is the herb here.
Okay.
But the cigarette starts here and it's extended, so it's rolled onto the cigarette. So we call it a roll-on. So that's how persons smoke weed back home, like 90% of the times. Yeah. So
you don't use a normal cigarette like Marlboro or whatever.
Yeah, Marlboro. Well, we have our own cigarettes home, so it's Marlboro, Dunhill, Domore.
Okay. But you use that paper.
Yeah, you use the paper.
That rolling paper.
Yeah, or any other rolling paper, but you're rolling it onto the cigarette. So you're just using the cigarette as a filter, essentially. Okay,
because it's what's toxic in the Marlboro cigarettes. It's the little lines on the paper.
Really?
This is very
I thought the lines were just to keep it burning naturally.
It's not natural.
Well, not natural, but
it's chemicals, and it's really nasty chemicals burning there. Wow. This is one of the most toxic part of the cigarette.
The lines on the cigarette.
Yeah.
Okay. Those
little rings all the way. Yeah. So it keeps burning. So you keep going for it. Have a look on internet. The chemical they use. I think I
remember any lines.
Cyanure.
The name of the lines?
No, the toxic poison. I think it might even have that.
But yes, definitely detrimental, harmful. Yeah, it's only when I stopped smoking cigarettes and I stopped smoking the roll-ons, I started to feel much better. Like much better.
But that's why, also, even if you use the tobacco inside, you will feel a little bit better. That's a given.
For sure. Yeah. But yeah, like I really think it's all about again the intention and seeing what's best for you. And we know the thing is we know cigarettes are not good for us. Like it literally says that on the box. Cigarettes are dangerous to your health. But there's something pulling us, so we just giving up in that fight and just going with it because we tell ourselves that, you know what, I'm going to die anyhow, better I just die like this. But you always want to, even in choosing your death, you can't manifest how you want to part from this earth once you are intentional. Because if you are intentional, although there's a chance that something randomly could happen, the chances becomes dramatically low. Because if you, let's say for instance, you say that you don't want to die in an airplane crash, right? You are going to avoid airplanes as best as you could, and the times that you cannot avoid it. And it's the one-off chance that it could occur, but you wouldn't necessarily place yourself and say, I want to become a pilot, because you know you don't want to die in an airplane crash. So You know, it's all about those different thought processes with it. Yeah, I think whoever is listening, or you that are listening, 'cause I know you are listening, don't harm yourself while you are enjoying cannabis. You know, be wise about it. Be conscious about it, from the purchase of it all down to the consumption. Who you're buying for, get vibes of the person you're buying for, speak to them, ask them about themselves or what they're selling, etc. Just do say, yes, I want that, and then just leave. You know, it just makes it transactional, and it's way more than that. You know, we're building our frequency, we're building our vibes, and as a community of people, you know, we have been stigmatized and attacked in various ways. So it's better that we, in our transactions, make it more holistic rather than just monetary, you know. I think this is a good note to close on. There are several things that each of us can take away, but before we can leave, there's two things that we have to do.
Okay.
One, I would like you to share with our listening audience, like, one thing you think that they could do tonight if they're consuming, or one message that you think would have them taking action to progressively develop themselves. That's a very tough question, or a deep question, but
Well, I think you could probably give it a try. If you enjoy smoking, having a smoke before going to bed, you can be highly intentional. You know, it could be, I wanna dream that I'm going back when I was 10 with my grandmother, you know, and we were playing in the park, and I had plenty birds, you know, whatever story, you know, whatever happened, one of the most happiest moments of your life. And you can say, I want to travel and go there. I want to feel that again. And give it a try.
wow.
And then you sleep on it. You try to, you hold on that feeling and you smoke it. And it's like you're lifting yourself, you know, to that place, and watch. Practice.
That's true.
Yeah.
That sounds enjoyable. I'll probably try it myself as well tonight.
Yeah.
Before I go and sleep. And the second thing, so usually we like to get a person's side that they may not necessarily show, whether it be your favorite book, your favorite movie. You say don't watch TV and stuff again. But when Stephanie just wants to be her most relaxed version. No worries, nothing to trouble you. You don't have to think about anything that's happening after or tomorrow. Like, where would you want to be, or what would you want to be doing in that moment?
Okay, so first it will depend on my moods, right?
Mm-hmm.
But usually I really like to meditate or train on astral projection, because I've experienced astral projection and really feeling each part of my body, my light body, getting out of my physical body, and feeling as if I was behind a screen. And the first thing you want to do is check your body, and you see dots of gold
Like you're seeing
lights.
yourself.
Oh man, you can see yourself, you know, on the bed sleeping, and you turn around and I saw two big red walls with light in the middle, and then it cut off right when I jump on a wall. But and experience that, because the process of going there, it's about increasing the magnetic field of the heart. And this is what eventually we all want to do when we do that process of introspection, or, you know, when you want to tune into a higher consciousness. What it is increasing your heart coherence.
Wow, that sounds like a trip. Yeah, it's a trip.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's an astral trip.
Astral projection, or astral travel, but yeah.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
You're
That sounds like an
welcome.
experience that I myself will need to have. There's a lot of experiences everybody need to have or wanted to do, whether it be that or something in your own world that you have seen. Go out there and have experiences. That's what life is really and truly about.
And sharing them with people, so we just keep exploring and keep exploring. When I tell them I haven't been watching TV for 13 years, like, you're not bored? Like, hell no.
Imagination is large. No TV could ever surpass your imagination.
Man. Yeah.
I always tell people that, people always ask you, like, how could you be in your thoughts so much, or how can you be without all of these different, I want to say it's distractions, because it always boils down to distractions. And I say, like, my head, like, so many things I could see and develop and grow and envision with just my imagination. Like, you don't need all of that.
And it is your ability to create the world you want to see for yourself. It's your ability to imagine.
Mm-hmm.
That's why there's TV and everything. So you don't imagine anymore. You're being told how to think, how to everything. So your ability to have your imagination running is a gift. Nurture that.
Definitely.
Yeah, man.
Nurture imagination. And that's the actual slogan, ties into the slogan of this podcast, which is to meditate and educate. And we are always sharing experiences. You are learning from me, I'm learning from you, and it's pour one, teach one, each one teach one. So, Stephanie, I think my listeners and myself definitely enjoyed what you have shared with us today on the podcast. It's insightful information, insightful, engaging, and it's real life experiences that was shared passionately and authentically that we always love and do. So, is there anything that you want to leave with the listeners?
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much as well for having me, and thank you for you, because that was part of my process in life as well, to encounter more conscious men and to be around you and the things that you talk about, how you want to experience the world, and that curiosity and imagination. It's something very beautiful, and it gives me lots of hope too. And faith.
Thank you.
So thank you.
All right, person. So see you on another episode of the Caribbean Cannabis channel. Always has been a pleasure and always will be a pleasure. See you.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Caribbean Cannabis channel. Be sure to like and subscribe. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook so you don't miss out on any of the exciting news happening across the region. Until next time, remember to meditate and educate.